The Marching Roundtable's appearance on tour with the Bluecoats was made possible by Stanberry Uniforms, found at stanberry.com. You ready?
Yeah.
Hey, this is Tim. I'm here with the wonderful Samia Mooney. Samia, how are you?
I'm good.
I'm so excited I'm getting to meet you in person.
Yeah.
We're here in Katy, Texas at the Bluecoats. This is where you're housed for the show tonight?
Yes.
And you're on tour. How long are you on tour? You're off and on, I'm assuming.
Myself.
So, yeah.
I am on right now through San Antonio, so I've been on for a week. I'll leave for one day to go home, do work for one day, and then come back on for a week.
Really?
Yeah.
One day?
Yeah. That's all they allow me to do.
No, I can see you can sort of regroup. So we're having tacos because we're in Texas, and that's what they're. So please have a taco, to have a bite. While I think about my next question, because I want you to be able to eat.
Because then that'll be my default. I'll just have to chew my food until I figure out what my answer is.
She'll food, and I'll sit here and do this, because that's always a good look for me. So they just had a short day. They had a long travel last night. Let them get a little sleep, and then they did a sort of, well, you see, you're calling it a short day. It was still like 11 to 4, so still a lot of rehearsal, really, but not compared to a lot of drum corps days.
Yeah.
So, and then there's a show tonight, and then tomorrow night's a big regional in San Antonio.
Yeah.
I will be there to see everything that's going on. So what is your role with the Corps? What do you do?
Right. So I am the movement supervisor. So we kind of have made movement its own caption this year, which is really neat because, you know, the way the Bluecoats have been going the last few years, it's so movement oriented and supported, thankfully, here at the Bluecoats. So I run the movement caption, so to speak, and I have a wonderful staff, and we sort of split our time between the horns and the guard, and then all hands on deck for anything movement related. So it's really wonderful. We get lovely attention to movement, and we start every day, even on our schedule for the entire drum corps. First thing in the morning is movement for everybody. So every day.
Okay, so there's a lot to discuss there, because movement is it's not just drill anymore. Everybody's doing all kinds of things, and you're teaching that to everyone. You're sort of the one overseeing that whole thing.
Well, I am like Jim oversees everything. Jim Moore oversees everything, and then I go ahead and
you're like in the movement.
I'm the worker bee in the movement caption. I'm the worker bee in the movement umbrella.
Yeah. Got it. Very interesting.
Yeah.
Okay, so
but they give me a lot of freedom to,
Okay, yeah. So and then so that's really interesting that they've sort of given that its own thing. Why do they start with movement at the beginning of the day? What's the advantage of that?
So, a huge advantage is that you physically get warm, but, you can do your static stretching, you can do your physical training to prep for your day, but there is something about, especially with the amount, a percentage amount, whatever you want to call it, of dancing, and I'm referring to dancing as, you can be dancing while you walk in a straight line. The amount that we do here in the show, it's overwhelming if you haven't really been in that situation before. So I think just exposing every section of the drum corps to as much of that as possible just makes them a more well-rounded performer, so that in the future we can ask these kids to go even more outside of the box. Not to say that it's going like more theater or Broadway or anything, but we want them to be more whole performers and not just better movers and better musicians. We want them to be better actors. We want them to be better communicators, emotionally communicators, physically with their body. So I would just say all that stuff falls under movement,
So you're very important, if that's like...
I hope I am.
Of course you are. That's why I'm talking to you right now. No, That's really interesting. So it's like it used to be like we would march drill and we'd go from set to set and you were in one posture. But now going from place to place is often way more integrated, and there's much more going on than just moving there.
Yeah. And then,
I'm stating the obvious here, people I know.
Right. But, and then you add in, equipment or props or any type of object manipulation that is not your own body. And then how do you put those two things together and ask someone who's predominantly just been marching most of their music careers to do that? And so giving them the tools and the toolbox to do that. More importantly, I think this is about helping them create their own toolkit so that they can start to pull these things out themselves. And it just makes the process, this is the thing, it makes the process a lot more integrated between designer, choreographer, and student member, so that the student experience, the performer experience, is much more inclusive and involved in the creative process. So it's
Makes sense.
they really have a great time with it. And I mean, in the mornings we'll do stretch, we'll do dance, we'll do technique, but then we'll do improvisation. We'll do a quick little choreographic thing. We do this thing called flocking, where like birds flock or a school of fish swim, and it's so seamless how they move, right? So we do this whole open awareness where you have to move at the same time as the person next to you, but without looking at them, and just, it's just opening up this whole kinesthetic thing. I could go on and on and on.
No, that's really interesting.
There are not enough days in the summer, and there's not enough time ever to do all the things we want to do. So it's just steps and steps.
Flocking. So you sort of learn to intuitively move with those around you and become more aware of them so that you can move more together?
Yeah, it's like
inherently?
It's like asking someone to improv and say, I want you to pick up the accents you hear exactly when you hear them. Exactly when you hear them into your ear, I want you to interpret them. So being able to have that awareness of what you're seeing and what you're hearing and where your body is in space, it's cool.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I can see how that could pay off in a lot of ways.
Yeah.
Okay, you have a bite of taco while I ask this next question, because she's got to get ready for the show. Okay, she's having strawberries. They look delicious. So here's the thing. What you said to me reminds me, I think that band directors could relate to that, like in the world of music. The better an individual performer becomes on their instrument, the more they are going to be able to bring to the music, because they're going to be expressive. They're going to have their own way of playing it that fits into the ensemble.
Yeah.
Is that not a pretty good analogy,
That's
right?
a great analogy.
But I don't think people think of movement that way. But yes, if my movement vocabulary is, I'm better at it and I'm more comfortable at it and I have more tools in my toolbox, then I can bring more to and enjoy it. That'd be so much more fun. You know how much more fun it is to play when you're a good player?
Yeah.
And you're bringing your own musical expression to the music.
Yeah.
Same with the movement, right?
There's something, they say this about musicians, and I don't know who they is, I read this somewhere, but musicians and movement, there's something about that type of art form where it's performance-based, where you have an audience and they are experiencing what you're doing, but the experience of the performer or the artist, the musician, the dancer in itself is completely different from what they're doing, and it's its own, fulfillment. It's its own fulfilled act. And so it's one of those things where the more that you love doing what you're doing and the more you know about the way you can do it and different varieties and different things you can bring to the table with you as a performer, the more you're going to enjoy it, the more the audience is going to enjoy it. Yeah, so
I see that what I like about what you're saying is that I'll say me, I'm not a movement specialist, but it's so easy for me when I'm watching a performance, I can tell if they are comfortable in their skin while they're being asked. Like you can tell if someone's been said, okay, hand up over here, turn, freeze, smile. Right. Like you can just tell if it's not somehow organic or natural to them.
Yeah, it's the difference in, and I'm not going to say going through the motions, it's the difference in someone hitting the checkpoints, doing the choreography, and then someone next to them bringing that choreography to life and putting some life behind it. We say this a lot here about cleaning, just Michael Rayford just the other day. Can I talk about him?
Of course.
Just yesterday.
Michael's a genius.
Talking about cleaning the life into your work. You can clean your checkpoints, you can hit everything, and you can clean the sheets, right? But clean the life into it and then make that experience for the performer,
Wow, that's a lovely
fulfilled.
expression.
He said clean the life. He said don't clean the life out of it, clean the life into it. And I was like,
So wait.
Trademark Michael Rayford.
Wait. That's fantastic. So how do you, if I'm like a guy at home with my group, how do I implement that?
Yeah. So it's when you're,
because I see people cleaning the life out of stuff all the time.
Yeah.
So how do you not do that?
And so
give me a hint.
Yeah. So if you are with a group and you are, you're doing rifles or you're doing dance, you take a section, give them their comments and their critique, but they should be taking every rep with the same intention, the same breath, the same focus, the same internal performance, the idea of what they're trying to portray every single time, so that basically you want to make sure that you're cleaning with your performance every time, not going through the motions, but that it is genuine. So if someone's taking tosses on their own, they're not just tossing, catching, critiquing again, toss, catch, critique again, toss, again and again and again, right? And again and again. You need to toss and catch and feel it and be in it, even in your prep. So it's just about being committed in the right way, the way that you want to do it every time. And
that's fantastic. So I'm not a robot. I'm a performer.
We don't want to be. We don't
want
to
be robots, right?
We don't want to have kids that are just going through their actions and their emotions because they're afraid of being called out. You want them to be the ones driving the rehearsal and them being the ones driving you as an instructor.
This is so good. This is so good because I have worked with groups before where the students are only just regurgitating the exact things they've been told, and you can see it, and there's no ownership of the show, and the show never comes to life. And you've just described that because they're afraid of making a mistake. They're afraid of bringing their own performance to it because they haven't been taught to do that.
Yeah, and something that we do here a lot, the Bluecoats, is we integrate and we ask so much of them in the creative process so that the show literally, a lot of what you're seeing out there, a lot of it is a collaboration between designer, choreographer, and member. No matter if you're a first year or if you're just come in or if you've been here for 3 or 4 years, it is completely a integrated process.
How does that work? Like, are there moments where they get to do something of their own? Is that what you're talking about?
Yeah, like we might ask them to here, try figure out an interesting way to get up and down off of this thing here, and then that may be an ensemble thing, and so we'll make that the technical move for what they're doing, or
like who does it in a way that you like or that seems natural, or that's really interesting.
Yeah, and
I can see how that would work in the process.
Yeah, and so much of it is not about what is the easiest way, but what is not as what is the newest way we haven't seen before, but what is interesting to them. What is an interesting way to them? And, we're not trying to recreate the wheel all the time. We have to find a balance of bringing this awesome production and also making an experience for the members that is going to make them want to pursue something bigger than just someone told me to do this, so I'm going to do it.
So what we're touching on is the stuff we all love when we watch drum corps, which is it's not just a performance. There's all these levels of energy and passion and commitment that are coming off the field. Yeah. And, it's so hard. We want that in our own groups, but you're talking about how to do it.
How do you teach that?
This is how you do it.
Yeah.
Okay, so I have a question. This leads me to another question. There, I think the Bluecoats are wonderful at moving props in a way that doesn't look like you're just moving a prop. And you sort of said that you're working with them on if they're getting on or off, or if they're moving. Yeah. So I'm assuming you choreograph how they push a prop and it turns and they set how much of are you involved in that part of things?
Me,
or how does that happen? That may not be in your purview, but it seems like a movement based.
Yeah. So
I'm asking this because we've all seen so many horribly utilitarian push the prop things, and I don't see that in your show.
Well, thank you.
No,
I'm trying to think if I see it anywhere in there.
I guess I'm just wondering, is that discussed?
Yeah, of course it's discussed. If you remember, since the first time the Bluecoats really started to bring huge wheelie things onto the field, whether it was tilt or downside up, or you never want to look mundane. You never want to look functional.
That's the word I was trying to
functional.
Say. Yeah. No, when it looks really functional, then it's not interesting to watch. It's but when it moves organically and they are part of the movement, that's hard to do.
It is. It's hard to do, and it's the best. The best we can do it is just to experiment in the moment. And I guess I would say this is try not to overthink it. Try not to overthink. You obviously want to pay attention to if you look functional, but you kind of just have to play and experiment and see what sticks. And that's kind of a hard one to answer, but.
I know. I kind of put you on the spot with that.
Well, we're kind of constricted because we have wheels. Everything has wheels, so it obviously has to go a certain direction, whether it's curvilinear or linear. And you generally have to use your hands to push. But, is there a little bit of motion that you can add with some, can you get a little more momentum going and then take something off of your equipment and then push again and maybe a little something underneath it. And, or, is it based on, here's something I guess I could say, what is the feel of that song in that moment?
Right.
Are we strenuous and are we aggressive, and do we need to have our heads down, and do we need to be lunging and pushing forward with the energy, or is it a little bit light, and do we need to be a little more free and pulling our prop with a little more port-a-bras or something? But
so it fits the style of the moment in the music. Okay.
That's a tricky one. It's a tricky one, but
no, I think that you answered it well, and I would assume that the better the students get at this movement you're talking about starting every day with, then they're going to look more natural.
Yeah, I could probably relate this to, we have a really, an exercise we've been doing with the brass quite often is, I'll put on music of each part of the show. So each song has a different feel, right? Whether it's Blackbird or She's So Heavy. They're contrasted completely.
There's a lot of variety in the show. Yeah.
So Blackbird, so what I'll do is I'll take all the brass, they line up in lines, put the music on. They have to fill the space, so they have to take the space. So they move into the space. They have to make their shape or their movement phrase that correlates with the theme of that song. And then they have to dissolve and exit the space. And the parameters are that they can never go to this position and march in or march out. So if they're coming in and they're doing Blackbird, I have a tendency to stand up on your videos.
No, I love that. Please keep going.
We're doing like the Blackbird theme, and they have to come into the space, and let's say they have like some really long arms, and they make their shape. To dissolve it, we've been working on ways to initiate with different parts of their body. So someone who's uncomfortable with improv would just go here and then leave. Right? So we've gone in, we've made our shape, our phrase, we have length, and then, okay, now how can you leave with a different part of your body? And they're like, they'll yell a body part, and they're like, foot. And I'm like, okay, and we go, right? Or like elbow, and go, and leave the space. So
that's cool. That makes sense to me, actually.
So we'll do that for different songs. So
this is part of the exercises they do to learn how to move within that song.
Yeah, or just to, or just to have it in their toolbox. Because
that's what I meant.
At some point in the show, someone is going to ask a performer to improv their way across a space or move a prop across a space, and we're not going to have time to write every single little thing. We don't want that much control over the show. We want it to live a little, and it doesn't need to be organic. It just needs to have its own life. It needs to be this breathing, living organ that... The other thing is that when they need to recover, that they have those recovery skills. If something goes awry.
That's great. Yeah.
They need to recover with their movement.
And if they can do it in a natural way because they know how to move their body and in different styles.
Yes.
And feels.
The mature performer. So, so what you said is huge, taking ownership of your show. That is something that they hear often, it's theirs.
You can tell.
We can only do so much.
And I can always tell when there's a group where they're afraid to, and their instructor isn't giving them the ability to, or they're afraid to make a mistake, or they're afraid to take it.
Or they've just been never told or taught that that's okay.
Right.
So.
Right. But that's the shows we love. When they take the ownership and they own it and it's their show and their joy of performing it, those are the shows we love to see.
Right, because when something exciting happens and someone is an excellent recoverer.
That's the best.
That's entertainment. And so part of the thing about this thing being live is that stuff goes right and stuff goes great and sometimes stuff goes awry, but how you deal with it is all part of it. So
I remember coming out of this year's WGI, one of the things that everybody was talking about was there was some guy doing a solo, and he had this ridiculous saber recovery. I don't know if you remember everybody talking about that. And that was exciting to me that was one of the things that people were excited about, the excellence of somehow he was able to still catch his saber and make it into something new in the instant. Thrilling.
Yeah, I think deep down that's what we all love about the live performance venue anyways, is that it's people
it's real.
You. Yeah. And you can relate to that. Yeah.
So then it makes perfect sense if we're trying to get there, like our conversation is taking us to that moment, then starting the day with movement and having my students be comfortable moving and in their bodies, that makes perfect sense.
Yeah.
Because all of that leads us, because they have the music skills, they have the marching skills, they're taught how to move, they taught the drill, they taught but then if they can move, it takes us there.
Right. It just creates more possibility.
Oh, I love that. That's
so
lovely. That's such a good way to say it.
Disney.
I love it. Well, I don't mind that. No, that's really cool. That's very cool. So are you having fun?
Oh my God, I'm having a great time.
And you're going to be at Avon?
Yeah, I'm going to be at Avon.
I'm so excited for them and for you.
Thank you. Me too.
I love those people, and that's such a great program, and I'm so excited that you're there. Because I was talking to Dean earlier, and he was like, yeah, she's coming on the team.
I'm very thankful that there are people there that I know. But, like the marching band, the performance activity world, the Winter Guard world, we all know each other.
Right.
So I'm really looking forward to it. Yeah.
It's going to be
nice
great.
to get out of this Texas heat. It's still hot in Indiana, but there are certain things. The tacos are not as good, but back
to the tacos full circle. That's nice. Well, thank you for stopping eating your tacos to talk to me. Yeah. I think it's super. The Bluecoats are really lucky to have you here. I love that now that when I'm watching all the movement, I'll know that you were the movement supervisor.
Yeah, there's a name for it. I don't know if there's a name for it.
Own it.
Yeah,
get it on a name
I love
tag.
it.
That's awesome.
Thank you. That's right. I'm proud.
You're doing great work. Thank you for stopping your day to talk to me.
Thank you, Tim.
You're wonderful. All right. Find other interviews and videos from top DCI designers, instructors, and marchers, behind-the-scenes videos, interviews, and podcasts from winter camps, spring training, traveling during the season, and performances, all at marchingartseducation.com/DCI-2019. The Marching Roundtable is proud to be an official media partner of Drum Corps International.